If you put fresh cow manure directly on plants in just 3 days, the roots can rot and turn black, potentially killing the plant. This is a very common occurrence, and it's true. But if we manage it correctly, according to information from the Department of Land Development, in only 7 days, that exact same pile of manure will transform into black gold, packed with beneficial nutrients. The soil will become loose and airy, there won't be any fungi, and weeds won't even grow. In today's analysis, we'll dive deep into every step of this scientifically proven method. No guesswork involved, to turn something that could be harmful into excellent compost in the shortest time possible. Here's our complete plan for today's deep dive. We'll start with the first question: is animal manure a problem or black gold? Then we'll look behind the scenes at how the crucial microorganisms work. After that, we'll move into the real-world practical part with a rapid 7-10-day formula. Once it's done, we'll examine the tangible results. And of course, we'll point out common mistakes to watch out for, ensuring that what we're doing truly transforms waste into life. Let's begin at the root of the matter so we can clearly understand why the process called composting is absolutely essential and cannot be skipped. This question is really important. Fresh animal manure has very high potential, it's true, but it's also like a double-edged sword with serious hidden dangers. If you look at the comparison, you'll immediately understand the difference. On one side, there's using raw animal manure directly. The heat that's still smoldering from the unfinished decomposition process releases ammonia gas, which can damage the delicate root hairs of plants, just like pouring hot water on plant roots. Plus, there are pathogens and weed seeds that come with the manure, just waiting to grow into weeds. But when we manage it correctly, the result is that nutrients, which were once in large molecular forms, are broken down and immediately ready for plants to absorb and use. The soil also improves because organic matter helps it retain water and air. This is our ultimate goal. The transformation from waste to something beneficial doesn't just happen out of nowhere. Behind it, there's a miniature army working constantly: microorganisms. The true hero of this task is the heat-tolerant microorganism, or thermophilic microorganism. Academic information from Mayo University clearly states that this group of microorganisms works best when the temperature in the compost pile exceeds 45 degrees Celsius. These are the biological factories that rapidly decompose everything, and a byproduct of their activity is very high heat. This heat acts like a natural sterilizing oven. It destroys pathogens and fungi, and it makes weed seeds abort, preventing them from germinating. This hot composting process has 3 distinct phases. The first phase is the warm-up, like lighting a stove to get the first group of microorganisms working. The temperature gradually rises. Once the heat is optimal, it enters the second phase, the hot phase. This is the crucial part. Heat-tolerant microorganisms work at full capacity, and the temperature can shoot past 60 degrees Celsius. This is the danger zone for pathogens and various weed seeds. They get eliminated during this period. And as the microorganisms' food supply starts to run out, the compost pile enters its final phase, cooling and curing. The temperature gradually drops to normal, and the nutrients are in a stable form, ready for plants to use. Now we're getting into the practical part. This formula and these steps will shorten the composting time from months to just 1 week. But I must mention that this speed comes with the need for absolute precision in both ratios and steps. This is the standard formula for 1 ton of compost from the Department of Land Development. The core of it is the carbon to nitrogen ratio. Let's imagine it simply. 1,000 kilograms of dry plant residue is the carbon source, like rice or energy for the microorganisms. 200 kilograms of animal manure is the nitrogen source, like side dishes or protein for them to build cells. And the additional 2 kilograms of urea fertilizer is a quick-release nitrogen added to awaken the microorganisms and get them working immediately. What's indispensable is 1 packet of DD1 starter culture. This is like sending in a specially selected commando unit to reinforce the troops, making the whole process visibly faster. Building the pile is an art in itself. Start with a thick layer of plant residue at the very bottom to allow air to circulate from below. Then, water it thoroughly, but not to the point of being soggy. Next, sprinkle animal manure, followed by urea fertilizer, and then pour the microbial liquid culture over it. Repeat this in layers, just like making a layered dessert. The height of the pile is really important because it helps trap heat inside, allowing the microorganisms to work most effectively. From the image, you can see a key principle. An optimal compost pile height of about 1.5 meters acts like insulation, helping maintain a high enough temperature in the core to kill pathogens. If the pile is too short, the heat will dissipate quickly. But if it's too high, air circulation inside won't be efficient, and it might even become anaerobic. Therefore, watering and building the pile to the appropriate height are extremely important factors for continuous microbial activity. I have to emphasize that moisture content is truly the most crucial thing. It needs to be maintained at around 50–60%. The simplest and most accurate way to test it is to grab a handful of material from the pile and squeeze it. If no water comes out, it's too dry. But if water gushes out when you squeeze, it's too wet. The correct consistency should feel like a wrung-out sponge, where a little water seeps out between your fingers when squeezed. If it's too wet, air won't be able to get in, and the pile will undergo anaerobic decomposition, which will be very smelly and very slow. Here's the precise timetable to follow. The first turning of the pile on day 3 and the second on day 6 have two main objectives: to thoroughly mix the food for the microorganisms to consume and to introduce oxygen throughout the entire pile. As for day 7, adding lime serves two important purposes. 1, to adjust the pH, which might have become acidic from the composting, back to neutral. And 2, to accelerate the reaction to drive out any remaining ammonium ions, which are toxic to plant roots. By converting them into ammonia gas and allowing them to evaporate completely from the compost pile. This makes the resulting compost 100% safe for plants. After following all these steps, how will we know if our compost is cooked and ready to use? Let's look at the tangible indicators. This table is from the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. You'll see that cow manure is high in potassium, or K, which is essential for building strong stems and root systems. Meanwhile, chicken manure excels in phosphorus, or P, which directly promotes flower and fruit production. But you need to understand that these numbers represent hidden potential. The entire composting process we've undertaken is about unlocking these nutrients from complex compounds, making them available in a form that plant roots can immediately absorb and utilize, without waiting for the soil to break them down again. A perfect compost will communicate its readiness through our senses. The color should be dark brown to black. The texture should be loose and crumbly, not sticky like clay. The smell is very important. It should have a pleasant, earthy aroma, like soil after rain. Absolutely no foul odor or pungent ammonia smell. And finally, the temperature must be completely cool, with no residual heat whatsoever. If it meets all 4 of these criteria, you can be confident that you have black gold for your soil in your hands. Learning from mistakes is crucial. Here's what can go wrong and how to prevent it so our composting efforts aren't wasted. You need to listen carefully to this. The damage I'm talking about happens quickly and is very real. The heat and ammonia gas from incompletely decomposed animal manure are silent killers for plant roots. Patiently waiting for the composting process to complete is the most worthwhile investment. Most mistakes stem from basic issues: managing moisture and turning the pile. If you can control these two things, your chances of success are more than halfway there. Another common issue is an imbalanced C/N ratio. If you add too much animal manure, N, relative to plant residue, C, the compost pile will become an excellent ammonia factory and will smell terrible. But if conversely, you add too much plant residue and too little animal manure, the microorganisms will lack protein to build cells, making decomposition very slow, potentially dragging on for months. In conclusion, composting isn't just an agricultural technique. It's a philosophy of sustainable farming. It's not just about strictly following a recipe, but about observing and adapting to the raw materials and weather conditions you have. True success comes from taking action and understanding the biological processes unfolding before you, because ultimately, living soil is the starting point for quality produce. If this story about transforming animal waste into black gold has helped you see the value of things around your garden more clearly, please subscribe and like our channel. We are uncovering nature's secrets and sustainable methods for a better future. Let's cultivate knowledge together and build a greener future. More valuable knowledge and effective techniques will be revealed soon.